So Ohio State's lost to Michigan 4 years in a row. This time it's 13-0. Ryan Day officially 1-4 in the rivalry. Michigan once again being the thing in between Ohio State and the Big Ten championship game. They might still go to that game depending on what happens with Penn State and Indiana, but that's so far up in the air. They are still a playoff team though at 10-2. I'm Stephen Means. That's Stefan Krajisnik, and that's Andrew Gillis. Okay, Andrew, 4 losses in a row to Michigan, but you're also in the playoff, so maybe you might win a national championship. What does Ohio State do with Ryan Day?
That's the toughest question that we're going to have to ask, and fans are going to have to ponder for a while, because Ryan Day's job is absolutely in jeopardy right now. You just lost to Michigan. You were 10-2. This was supposed to be your most talented team that you have ever had at Ohio State, and now you lose on the road at Oregon. Okay, number 1 team in the country, really good team, really good game. Lose by 1, not forgivable maybe, but you could understand it. This is unforgivable. That is where you go from here. So I think you have to see how this team does in the playoff first. I know there are going to be some people out there who are saying, why did he even get to do his post-game press conference? He should have been fired walking off the field. But we'll see what happens in the playoff, but this team has to make a run. If this team does not make a run, I do not think he's going to be the head coach at Ohio State going into next season. This team has to do something in the college football playoff, and they might have to go on the road in the first round of the playoff depending on how things shake out, so it's going to be a tough road.
Stefan, you're Ross Bjork. What do you do with Ryan Day?
Yeah, I mean, you evaluate how it goes in the playoff. You're not going to get fired before the playoff begins. What I will say, though, is, like Andrew said, if this team wins a national championship, we have to pump the brakes on that. What from today's performance gives you the confidence that they are going to win a national championship? Now, I know Georgia has struggled against bad teams. I know Oregon struggled against Wisconsin. Sure, it could happen. But that's just pointing to the other teams and being like, well, if that team's not that good, that team's not that good. This is about Ohio State, and they did not look like a national championship contender playing against a Michigan team that, like you said, is barely got bowl eligibility coming into this game. It's a very tough decision because obviously the record overall is impressive. He's gotten Ohio State to a point where they have competed for things that a lot of teams don't compete for. But you're also Ohio State. That's stuff that's attainable at Ohio State, regardless of who the coach is in most situations. It goes back to the born on third base thing, which I don't think is entirely fair, but it's fair to an extent. And he hasn't taken advantage of the opportunities that have been in front of him. He hasn't taken advantage of a monster roster that they have this season and what I thought was a pretty manageable schedule on the front end to kind of get the pieces together and really get yourself going in the back end. So, yeah, I mean, the pressure's on. This college football playoff is going to determine a lot for him, and it's going to be very representative of him because if they do win a national championship, if they do go on and win a national championship, then he's done a good job of rallying this team from a very low point to getting there. But at this point, I don't have a ton of confidence that that's going to happen.
I'm not laughing at you. I just laughed at the fact that I just realized Ryan Day doesn't lose these games unless Michigan is on the other sideline. So
I wrote about it after the game at Wrigley Field. I said Ryan Day remained undefeated against unranked teams. The next unranked team on the schedule is the most important one he's ever played, and here it is.
You know what that tells me? In all seriousness, in this cold, so we're not going to do this video long. It tells me I think I take Ohio State against every team in the country unless they're wearing maize and blue with winged helmets. They have a Michigan problem. I understand, yes, the big, it's like, oh, that didn't look like a national championship team. But they have a mental hurdle against this team. They don't have a mental hurdle against Oregon or Georgia or Texas or Penn State. Definitely not Penn State. Indiana, anybody else from the SEC who they think should be in the playoff. They have a mental hurdle against the wrong team. So what that tells me is, as long as they don't have to play Michigan again, I think I take the Buckeyes. But the problem is, you can't lose this game. I don't care what the stipulations are afterward. I don't care that the playoff has expanded. This is the standard here. You win this game, and then you win everything else. You haven't won this game in 4 years. So that I don't know what you do with Ryan Day. I don't know if this is a position where if Ryan Day doesn't win a national championship, they get fired. I don't know if it's, hey, just get to the semifinal. I don't even know if Ross Bjork is thinking like that. He might just keep his job. But what I do know is he lost the fan base today. If there was any percentage that he still had, he lost them because he lost to he's John Cooper now. That you weren't John Cooper before the day, and now you are, and they have to figure out a way over the next month because they'll play again on either December 20th or December 21st, depending on the scheduling. They have 20 days to figure out how to get the heck over this loss and move forward.
Let me say one thing because I know Steven's cold, so I'm going to make this quick.
Very.
You talked about the fan base. How do you convince the fan base? if this offseason and the start of this season didn't convince you Ryan Day's going to right the ship and he's going to be Michigan, everything's going to be fine, why would you have any confidence next year? I don't care if that same Michigan team takes the field next year and this same Ohio State team takes you can't go 9 months being like they're going to be Michigan, it's a bad Michigan team, it's a good Ohio State team. Like, that's gone now. That's gone. Like, all offseason, everyone's going to be saying, well, they're going to lose to Michigan. They're going to lose to Michigan. What? It doesn't matter who they recruit, who they get in the portal. They're going to lose to Michigan.
John Cooper era has arrived. What's Ryan Day going to do about it? Because unlike Cooper, he at least has a chance to write it with a national championship. Get the text 614-350-3315. We'll continue to talk about this on Buckeye Talk, so go listen to that where you find podcasts. Andrew, Stefan, Steven, Ohio State, 4th straight loss to Michigan, 13-10.